Where are you from? I'm from London. Okay, Xaymaca Awoyungbo. Where are you really from? Okay, well, my first name is the original name for Jamaica, which represents my maternal heritage. And my surname is a symbol of my Yoruba identity on my father's side. I mean, I've grown up in London, so it's really all I know. But I feel really connected when either country plays football. So I was gassed when I heard about the Unity Cup, the football tournament bringing together Jamaica, Nigeria, Ghana and Trinidad and Tobago, all right here in London. It's the perfect celebration for the Diaspora. So I decided to invite a few friends over for some food to discuss how the Unity Cup could connect us.
If I was to ask you, where are you from? How would you answer that question?
Ooh. I mean, where are you really from?
Yeah.
I'm obviously repping Jamaica today. My dad is the Jamaican one, my mum's from Barbados. But my dad has not been back to Jamaica since he left when he was 11.
Wow.
And I personally haven't been to Jamaica either. But I feel like it's one of those things, because I've always been so close and loving like Barbados on my mum's side. It's such a richness that I feel like I have such a strong community of Jamaicans here. And I think that's the thing, is that as a Jamaican, I'm very, very lucky in that respect, that you can go to New York, you can be in London and still feel like you have resonance of your culture there.
Yeah.
I think that's something that a lot of other countries don't have, and it's something that I very much don't take for granted. And even though my dad literally left Jamaica when he was like 10 and he's like nearly 70 now, his accent is still incredibly strong. Yeah. A lot of people want to be Jamaican. Even some of my friends like now that are like older than me, kind of like more later millennial kind of age, are saying that like, yeah, when they were going clubbing when they were like 20, like 21, someone asked them where they're from, they would like lie and say that they were Jamaican, you know, they weren't, because it was just like the in thing to do at that time. So it is interesting to me as I've grown up, seeing how much that has changed for the better, I think, of people from other countries like claiming their countries like very, very proudly. And I think it's also something for us as a generation of people who weren't born and didn't come over here, to how we kind of have that intersection of culture, but also what it means to be like Black and British as well. And I'm so intrigued to see, when I'm at the age that my dad is at now, when I'm like retiring, to see how 60 years of people that may not necessarily be the direct descendants of immigrants or Jamaica or Trinidad or Nigeria or Ghana, wherever it is, how we've manifested our own version of Black British culture here. And I think that's why things like the Unity Cup are great, actually, because it's so lovely to have that in your hometown, do you know what I mean?
How would you then connect with your culture, and would football be one of those things?
Yeah, I think it's taught me resilience. The Nigerian team, but it's really funny now, because if you look at the Nigerian team, they're very much in it voice, and I love that. Very much represents kind of the London I grew up in. So many of them were born and bred in London, so it's actually been a nice way of connecting and seeing myself represented. It's one of those things where you don't realize sometimes that you want it until it happens. You know, I grew up watching the Nigerian team, you know, the men and the women, so I never felt like, oh, I wish there were people like me in the team, because I didn't know any better. But now that there are players who are born and bred London, speak in a really like stereotypical like London accent, and then throw in some Yoruba words once in a while in there, I'm like, oh my god, like this has been really nice to be represented. Like it's been really nice to showcase what it is like to be like a Nigerian in London. But also I think it's a nice way of showing people in Nigeria that the stereotypes you have of us aren't 100% accurate, and this is how we see ourselves, and this is how we represent ourselves, and this is how we represent what it means to be like Nigerian. How I see Nigerian is never going to be how it's going to be like in Nigeria. It can't. I wasn't born there. I don't have my roots there. And for better or worse, I also do have Western values as well, and how I see things and how I represent myself and how I talk about myself and everything. So it's been really nice to see the players actually be from London and be from the UK and like represent a part of you where you're like, oh, this is kind of healing. It's like healing in terms of my Nigerianness is still valid.
I guess for you, Tyrique, I guess when I looked at it, like in terms of all the countries in the Unity Cup, Trinidad is probably the one I know the least about in terms of its footballing, like prowess. So like, how big is football for you in terms of like connecting to your culture and like just even within the other sports in Trinidad as well?
For me, in terms of connecting with football as being Trinidad, I think that it's a big part of our culture. You know, the Soca Warriors, everybody loves and roots for the Soca Warriors. I think, especially for me and my family, and my dad, where he's from in Trinidad in the south, Point 14, is like a central hub where a lot of national team players come from, and a lot of his friends were ex-national players. So I came up around a really strong footballing household. My cousin played in the 2006 World Cup when we made it. And I remember being 6 years old at the 2006 World Cup, and we played England, and I didn't realise how much of a big deal it was. And I remember crying when we lost. But for me, that I really have a deep connection to football through being Trinidadian. And I think coming into the Unity Cup, we're very much the underdogs. But I like that. I like that everyone counts as that. But this is a really transitional period for the national team, which I think, with Dwight York coming in as manager now, United legend, the focus is on more homegrown talent and players in America, players over here, and they're starting that, but we're yet to see the fruits of what they're trying to produce. But I'm hoping that will change. I'm hoping the Unity Cup will, because it's also good for people who are from Trinidad, who are from Jamaica, who are from Ghana, Nigeria. You get a chance to see your national team live in front of you. This could inspire you, a budding footballer, to then want to come and represent your team.
Speaking to my friends, I started to realise how the Unity Cup could foster a sense of national pride. Although we're from London, our diaspora experiences are valid, and the Unity Cup is a chance to shout about it. So, there was only one thing to do: get down there. I went to the Jamaica Trinidad game, and it felt more like carnival than a football match. My friends who went to the Ghana Nigeria game said the atmosphere was just as good. This is what football's all about. Of course Nigeria met Jamaica in the final, with Nigeria winning on penalties, but to quote Jimmy Bullard, football's always the winner.